Surah Al-An is the sixth chapter of the Quran, consisting of 165 verses, and it was revealed in Makkah at a time when people were surrounded by idol worship, confusion, and self-made rules about what was right and wrong. The name Al-An'am means the cattle, referring to how people wrongly made religious laws about animals without any authority from Allah. And this surah came to correct those false beliefs and guide humanity back to pure truth. It was revealed all at once, highlighting the power and urgency of its message, to establish the oneness of Allah and show the clear path of guidance. But here's something to think about. What if many of the things we follow today are also just assumptions, not truth? This surah challenges not only the past, but every generation. What if this one chapter could show you the difference between right and wrong so clearly that you can never be confused again? It is not just about beliefs. It is about how to live a righteous life, how to make the right choices, and how to stay firm on truth even when the world pulls you in another direction. Are you truly on the straight path, or just following what feels easy? Through powerful signs of nature, deep reflections, and the example of Prophet Ibrahim, this surah calls you to think, question, and return to your Creator. What makes this surah so powerful that it was revealed all at once, and why does it feel like it is speaking directly to you today? If you truly want guidance, clarity, and a path toward a righteous life, this surah holds answers you don't want to miss. The verses 1 to 13 of Surah Al-An begin by praising Allah, the one who created the entire universe, including the heavens and the earth, and who brought into existence both darkness and light, showing his complete power and control over everything. Despite these clear signs, some people still deny him and wrongly place others as equals to him. Allah reminds human beings that he created them from clay, highlighting their humble origin, and he has already fixed a specific time for their life and death, as well as the final appointed time of resurrection known only to him. Yet, even after knowing this, people continue to doubt his power and existence. Allah is the only true God everywhere in the heavens and the earth, and he has full knowledge of everything, what people hide in their hearts and what they openly say or do, as well as all their actions. Whenever guidance or signs from Allah come to such people, they ignore and turn away from them. They rejected the truth when it came, and soon they will face the reality and consequences of what they used to mock. Allah then reminds them of past nations who were much stronger and more established, blessed with rain, rivers, and resources, yet they were destroyed because of their sins and disobedience, and new generations replaced them. This is a warning that worldly power and blessings do not guarantee safety if people disobey Allah. The disbelievers are so stubborn that even if a physical book was sent down from the sky and they could touch it, they would still call it magic. They demanded that an angel be sent as a messenger, but Allah explains that if an angel had been sent and they still disbelieved, they would have been destroyed immediately, without any chance for repentance. Also, if the messenger were an angel, he would still appear in human form, which would only increase their confusion instead of removing it. The Prophet is comforted by being reminded that previous messengers were also mocked, but in the end the punishment surrounded those who ridiculed them. People are encouraged to travel and reflect on the fate of earlier nations who rejected the truth. Allah commands to declare that everything in the heavens and the earth belongs to him alone, and he has made mercy a rule for himself, showing his kindness and willingness to forgive. He will surely gather all people on the day of judgment, a certain reality in which there is no doubt. But those who ruin themselves by rejecting faith will not believe. Finally, Allah emphasizes that everything that exists at all times, day and night, belongs to him, and he is all-hearing and all-knowing, fully aware of everything in existence. In the verses 14 to 31 of Surah Al-An, the Prophet is commanded to declare that he will never take anyone as a protector or guardian besides Allah, the one who created the heavens and the earth and who provides sustenance to everyone while he himself needs nothing. This shows that Allah is completely independent, while human beings are fully dependent on him. The Prophet is told to be the first to submit and to completely avoid associating partners with Allah. He is also instructed to say that he fears the punishment of a great day if he disobeys his Lord, which shows that even the messenger is fully obedient and humble before Allah. Whoever is saved from punishment on that day has truly received Allah's mercy, and that is the greatest success. Though Allah alone controls harm and benefit, if he afflicts someone, no one can remove it, and if he grants good, no one can stop it, showing his complete power over everything. He is above all his creation, perfectly wise and fully aware. Allah then instructs the Prophet to declare that the greatest witness is Allah himself, and this Quran has been revealed as a warning for all people it reaches. The Prophet clearly rejects the idea of other gods and affirms that Allah is one, distancing himself from all forms of associating partners with him. The people of the book recognize the truth of the Prophet just as clearly as they recognize their own children, but those who have ruined themselves still refuse to believe. The most unjust people are those who lie about Allah or deny His revelations, and such wrongdoing will never lead to success. On the Day of Judgment, when all people are gathered, those who associated partners with Allah will be questioned about their false gods, but they will have no real answer except to lie and deny it. However, their lies will be exposed and all their false beliefs will disappear. Some people listen to the Prophet, but their hearts are covered and their ears are blocked because of their stubbornness, so they fail to understand the truth. Even if they see clear signs, they still reject them and dismiss the Quran as stories of the past. Not only do they turn away themselves, but they also try to prevent others from accepting the truth, unknowingly destroying their own souls. If only one could see their condition when they stand before the hellfire, they will wish to return to this world to believe and obey, but this wish will not be accepted. Allah reveals that even if they were sent back, they would return to their old ways because their denial comes from deep within themselves. They used to claim that there is no life except this worldly life and denied resurrection, but when they are brought before Allah, they will be forced to admit that the truth is real. Then they will be told to taste the punishment for their disbelief. In the end, these verses describe the complete loss of those who denied meeting Allah. When the Day of Judgment suddenly arrives, they will be filled with regret for neglecting it, and will carry the heavy burden of their sins upon themselves. This burden is described as something evil and painful, showing the serious consequences of ignoring the truth and living only for this temporary world. In the verses 32 to 45 of Surah Al-Anam, Allah explains that the life of this world is only a temporary play and amusement, while the life of the hereafter is far better and everlasting for those who are mindful of Him and avoid evil. So people are encouraged to think deeply about this reality. Allah comforts the Prophet by telling him that he knows the hurtful things people say make him sad, but in truth they are not calling him a liar directly. Rather, they are rejecting the signs and messages of Allah out of wrongdoing and stubbornness. Allah reminds him that many messengers before him were also rejected and faced hardship. Yet they remained patient until Allah's help came, and no one can change Allah's words or promises. The Prophet is told that even if their rejection feels very heavy, and even if he could bring extraordinary signs by going into the earth or climbing to the sky, it would not make them believe, because guidance is in Allah's control. If Allah willed, He could guide everyone, so the Prophet should not be among those who do not understand this. Allah then explains that only those who truly listen with open hearts will accept the message, while those who are spiritually dead will only realize the truth when Allah raises them on the Day of Judgment and returns them to Him. The disbelievers keep asking for miracles, but Allah has the power to send them. However, most people do not understand that signs do not benefit those who refuse to believe. Allah also teaches that every creature on earth and every bird in the sky lives in organized communities like humans, and nothing has been left out of Allah's knowledge and record. In the end, all will be gathered before Him. Those who reject His signs are described as deaf and unable to speak the truth, living in layers of darkness, and Allah allows some to go astray while guiding others based on His wisdom. Allah then asks them to reflect. If punishment from Allah or the Day of Judgment suddenly comes, will they call on anyone besides Him? In reality, they will call only upon Allah, and He alone can remove their suffering if He wills, and at that moment they will forget the false partners they used to associate with Him. Allah reminds them that He sent messengers to earlier nations, and when those people were tested with hardship and suffering, they were expected to humble themselves and turn back to Allah. But instead, their hearts became hard, and Satan made their wrong actions seem attractive to them. When they completely ignored the warnings, Allah allowed them to enjoy more blessings, and opened for them the doors of comfort and provision. But just when they became proud and happy with what they had, Allah suddenly seized them with punishment, leaving them in complete despair. In the end, the people who did wrong were completely destroyed from their roots, and all praise belongs to Allah, the Lord of all worlds, whose justice and wisdom are perfect. In the verses 46 to 62 of Surah Al-Anam, Allah asks people to think deeply. If He were to take away their hearing, their sight, and seal their hearts, who besides Him could ever restore these blessings? This shows that all abilities and guidance come only from Allah. Yet even after clear signs and repeated reminders, many people still turn away. Allah warns that if His punishment comes, whether suddenly or openly, it will only destroy those who are unjust. He explains that messengers are sent only to give good news to those who believe and do good, and to warn those who reject the truth. Those who believe and act rightly will have no fear and no grief, while those who deny Allah's signs will face punishment because of their disobedience. The Prophet is told to clearly say that he does not possess the treasures of Allah, nor does he know the unseen, nor is he an angel. He only follows what is revealed to him. He asks people to reflect, can a blind person and a seeing person be equal? The Prophet is instructed to warn especially those who are aware that they will be gathered before their Lord, knowing that they have no protector or intercessor besides him, so that they may become mindful and avoid wrongdoing. He is also told not to turn away sincere believers who remember Allah day and night, seeking only His pleasure, regardless of their social status, because each person is responsible only for their own actions. Allah explains that He tests people through one another, so that some may question why certain humble individuals are favored, while in reality, Allah knows best who is truly grateful. When believers come, the Prophet is instructed to greet them with peace and give them hope. Allah has made mercy a rule for Himself, so anyone who does wrong out of ignorance and then repents and corrects themselves will find Him forgiving and merciful. In this way, Allah makes His signs clear, so that the path of truth and the path of wrongdoing become distinct. The Prophet is further commanded to firmly declare that he is forbidden from worshipping anything besides Allah, and that he will not follow people's desires, because that would lead him away from guidance. He tells them that he stands on clear proof from his Lord, even though they deny it, and that the punishment they are asking to be brought quickly is not in his control. Judgment belongs only to Allah, who decides with truth and perfect wisdom. If the punishment were in His control, it would already have been decided, but Allah knows best who are unjust. Allah then emphasizes His complete knowledge and power. He alone holds the keys of the unseen and knows everything in the land and the sea. Not even a leaf falls without His knowledge, and nothing exists, whether small or great, except that it is recorded clearly. He is the one who takes people's souls during sleep at night and brings them back during the day, so that their fixed lifespan may be completed, after which they will return to Him and be informed of all their deeds. Allah is above all His servants and has full authority over them, and He appoints angels to watch over people. When death comes, His appointed angels take the soul without any delay or negligence. Then all people are returned to Allah, their true Master, where final judgment belongs only to Him, and He is the swiftest in taking account, meaning that no action will be overlooked and justice will be carried out perfectly. In the verses 63 to 73 of Surah Al-Anam, Allah asks people to reflect on their behavior. When they are in danger on land or at sea, they sincerely call upon Him, humbling themselves openly and privately, promising to be grateful if He saves them. But when Allah rescues them from distress, they return to associating partners with Him, showing ingratitude and forgetfulness. Allah warns that He can punish people in many ways, by sending punishment from above, from below, or by creating division among them so that they fight each other. These repeated signs are meant to help people understand, yet many reject the truth. The Prophet is told that his people call the message a lie even though it is true, and he is not responsible for forcing them to believe. Everything has a fixed time, and eventually the truth will become clear to them. The Prophet is instructed that when he sees people mocking Allah's revelations or speaking falsely about them, he should avoid them until they change the topic. If he forgets and remains among them, he should leave as soon as he remembers, and not stay with those who are unjust. Those who are mindful of Allah are not accountable for the deeds of others, but they should continue to remind them, in the hope they may become conscious. The Prophet is also told to leave those who treat their religion as a game and are deceived by worldly life, but still remind them of the consequences. On the day of judgment, no one will have a protector or intercessor besides Allah, and no compensation will be accepted. Such people will face severe punishment, including boiling water and painful chastisement because of their disbelief. Allah then explains in verse 71 that it is pointless to call upon anything besides Him, because nothing else can benefit or harm. Turning away after receiving guidance is like a person misled by devils, wandering confused on the earth, even though there are companions calling him back to the right path. True guidance is only the guidance of Allah, and the Prophet and believers are commanded to fully submit to Him, the Lord of all worlds. They must maintain prayer and remain conscious of Allah, knowing that everyone will ultimately be gathered before Him. Finally, in verse 73, Allah reminds that He created the heavens and the earth with truth and purpose. When He commands something to exist by saying be, it happens immediately. His word is always the absolute truth. On the day the trumpet is blown, Allah's complete authority and control will be fully evident. He knows everything, both the unseen and the seen, and nothing is hidden from Him. He is perfectly wise and fully aware of all actions, intentions, and realities in the universe. The verses 74 to 90 of Surah Al-An recount the story of Prophet Ibrahim, Abraham, peace be upon him, and his guidance from Allah. Ibrahim speaks to his father Azar, asking why he worships idols, pointing out that he and his people are clearly in error. Allah then shows Ibrahim the kingdom of the heavens and the earth, so that he may have certainty in faith. As a young man, Ibrahim observes the night sky and sees a star, thinking it might be his Lord. But when the star sets, he realizes it cannot be his creator. Then he observes the moon rising, but when it sets too, he understands that it cannot be his Lord either. Finally, he sees the sun, the greatest of all visible objects. But when it sets, he declares to his people that he is free from the idols they worship. Ibrahim submits completely and solely to Allah, the one who created the heavens and the earth, and he rejects polytheism entirely. When his people argue with him, Ibrahim points out that he follows guidance and is not afraid of their idols, because they hold no power over him except by Allah's permission. He questions how they can feel secure worshipping false deities that have no authority from Allah. Those who believe sincerely without mixing faith with wrongdoing are truly secure and rightly guided. This dialogue serves as an argument and example from Allah to Ibrahim's people, showing that guidance comes from Him, and He elevates in status whom He wills, for He is wise and fully aware. Allah reminds us that He blessed Ibrahim with children, Isaac, Ishaq, and Jacob, Yaqub, and had guided earlier prophets like Noah, Nuh, and, through his descendants, David, Dawood, Solomon, Sulaiman, Job, Ayub, Joseph, Yusuf, Moses, Musa, and Aaron, Harun. Allah also guided prophets like Zechariah, Zachariah, John, Yahya, Jesus, Isa, and Elijah, Ilyas, as well as Ishmael, Ismail, Elisha, Al-Yasha, Jonah, Yunus, and Lot, Lut. Allah made these prophets excel in this world and chose them from among their families, descendants, and people to guide them on the right path. This is Allah's guidance. He guides whom He wills among His servants, and if people were to set up partners with Him, their efforts would be null and ineffective. These prophets were given the book, wisdom, and prophethood, and if some reject it, Allah has already entrusted it to others who remain faithful. Allah commands believers to follow the guidance of these righteous people. The Prophet is told to say that he does not ask for any reward for conveying this guidance. It is simply a reminder for all nations. In the verses 90 to 103 of Surah Al-An, Allah criticizes those who deny His revelations or fail to attribute to Him the qualities that are due. Some people claim that Allah has not revealed anything to any human being, yet Allah points out that the book revealed to Musa, Moses, was a clear light and guidance for mankind. People often distort, hide, or scatter parts of this knowledge and show only what benefits them, even though neither they nor their ancestors truly understood it. Allah commands the Prophet to leave those who persist in such empty disputes to continue in their vain talk. Allah emphasizes that the Quran He has revealed is a blessed book, confirming what came before it, and it serves to warn the people of the city and its surroundings. Those who believe in the hereafter recognize its truth and maintain their prayers regularly. The verses warn that nothing is more unjust than a person who lies against Allah, claims revelation falsely, or claims to produce something like what Allah has revealed. On the Day of Judgment, such people will experience the pains of death, and the angels will command their souls to be given up. They will face humiliating punishment for their lies and arrogance against Allah's revelations. Allah reminds that every person comes to Him alone, just as He originally created them, leaving behind all that they claimed or set up as partners with Him. Their false intercessors or idols will no longer benefit them, and the bonds they claimed are severed. Allah demonstrates His power through creation. He causes grain to grow and stones to sprout, brings life from the dead, and can take life from the living. He causes dawn to appear, night for rest, and the sun and moon for reckoning. These are signs of His might and knowledge. He also created stars so humans may navigate by them, showing His guidance is clear for those who seek understanding. Allah reminds humanity that He created everyone from a single soul and provides them with a place to live and a repository for their belongings. He sends down water from the clouds to bring forth plants, fruits, and crops of various types, showing the beauty and order of creation. These are clear signs for those who have faith and reflect. Yet despite all this, some people make jinn or other beings partners with Allah, or falsely ascribe to Him sons and daughters without any knowledge. Allah, glorified and exalted, is far above such claims. He is the creator of the heavens and the earth, needing no consort or partner, and He knows all things. The verses conclude by affirming that Allah alone is the true God, the creator of everything, and all matters are under His control. He is beyond human vision, yet knows all that can be seen and is fully aware of even the subtlest details of creation. This reinforces His majesty, uniqueness, and complete knowledge, calling people to worship Him alone and submit to His guidance. In the verses 104 to 117 of Surah Al-An, Allah explains that clear proofs and guidance have already come from Him, so whoever chooses to see and accept the truth does so for their own benefit, while whoever chooses to remain blind harms only themselves. The Prophet is told that he is not responsible for forcing people to believe. Allah repeats His signs and messages in different ways, so that the truth becomes clear to those who seek knowledge, even though some people wrongly accuse the Prophet of learning from others. The Prophet is commanded to follow only what has been revealed to him, to firmly believe that there is no God except Allah, and to turn away from those who associate partners with Him. Allah clarifies that if He had willed, people would not have committed polytheism, and the Prophet is not appointed as a controller or guardian over them. Allah then teaches an important principle. Believers should not insult or abuse the false gods of others, because this may lead those people to insult Allah out of ignorance. Every group considers its own actions to be right, but in the end all will return to Allah, who will inform them of the truth. The disbelievers strongly swear that if a miracle came to them, they would believe. But Allah makes it clear that signs are in His control, and even if such signs came, they would still refuse to believe. Because of their repeated rejection, Allah allows their hearts and eyes to turn away from the truth, leaving them wandering blindly in their stubbornness. Allah explains that even if angels were sent down, the dead spoke to them, or every possible sign was shown, they still would not believe unless Allah willed, because most of them act in ignorance. The Prophet is reminded that every messenger has faced enemies, including devils from among humans and jinn, who deceive others with attractive but false speech. If Allah had willed, they would not have done this, but they are left to continue so that those who do not believe in the hereafter may be drawn toward falsehood, become pleased with it, and continue earning evil through their choices. The Prophet is instructed to rely only on Allah as the ultimate judge, since He has revealed a clear and detailed book. The people who were given earlier scriptures recognize that this revelation is true. Allah's word is complete in truth and justice, and no one can change it. He hears everything and knows everything. Finally, Allah warns that if one follows the majority of people on earth, they will likely lead away from the truth, because they rely on guesses and false ideas rather than certainty. Allah alone knows who has gone astray and who is rightly guided, so true guidance must be sought only from Him. In the verses 118 to 129 of Surah Al-An, Allah gives guidance about lawful and unlawful food, and also teaches deeper spiritual lessons. Believers are instructed to eat only from that over which Allah's name has been mentioned, showing obedience and awareness of Him. Allah asks why they would avoid such lawful food when He has already clearly explained what is forbidden, except in situations of necessity where a person is forced. However, many people mislead others by following their own desires without knowledge, and Allah knows best those who go beyond limits. Believers are commanded to stay away from all sins, whether done openly or secretly, because everyone will be held accountable for what they earn. They are also warned not to eat from that over which Allah's name has not been mentioned, as this is disobedience, and such ideas are often inspired by evil influences to create arguments and confusion. Obeying such misleading voices can lead a person toward associating others with Allah. Allah then gives a powerful example. A person who was spiritually dead and then given life and guidance, walking with light among people, is not like someone who is lost in deep darkness with no way out. This shows the difference between guidance and misguidance. Those who reject the truth often find their wrong actions made to seem attractive to them. Allah explains that in every community, the leading wrongdoers are often the ones who plan evil, but in reality they are only harming themselves without realizing it. When clear signs come to them, they arrogantly demand special status like the messengers, refusing to believe unless they are given similar authority. But Allah knows best whom to choose for His message, and such arrogant people will face humiliation and severe punishment for their schemes. Allah then explains how guidance works. When He intends to guide someone, He opens their heart to accept truth easily and willingly. But when someone chooses to reject guidance, their heart becomes tight and uncomfortable, as if they are struggling to breathe while climbing upward. This shows how difficult faith feels to someone who refuses it. Such people are left in a state of impurity because of their disbelief. Allah makes it clear that this path, the path of truth, is straight and clear for those who reflect. Those who follow it will have peace and security with their Lord, and Allah will be their protector because of their good actions. Finally, Allah describes a scene from the Day of Judgment, where He will gather both humans and jinn. He will address the jinn, saying that they led many humans astray. The humans will admit that they benefited from one another in wrongdoing and have now reached their appointed end. Allah will declare that the fire is their final home, except for whom He wills to show mercy, as He is wise and knowing. The verses conclude by explaining that wrongdoers are often made companions of one another because of the evil they choose, meaning that people who follow wrongdoing naturally align themselves with others like them, increasing their misguidance. In the verses 130 to 140 of Surah Al-An, Allah describes a scene from the Day of Judgment, where He will address both humans and jinn, asking them whether messengers had not come to them from among themselves, conveying His messages and warning them about this very day. At that moment, they will admit their own guilt, confessing that worldly life had deceived them, and they will testify against themselves that they were disbelievers. Allah makes it clear that He never destroys any nation unjustly without first sending guidance, so people are not punished while unaware. Everyone will have different darajat, levels or ranks based on their deeds, and Allah is fully aware of everything they do. He is completely independent and full of mercy. If He wills, He can remove one people and replace them with another, just as He brought current generations after earlier ones. The warning of punishment and accountability is certain and unavoidable. The Prophet is told to tell his people to continue their way, while he continues his, and soon they will know who achieves the best outcome, as wrongdoers will never succeed. The verses then expose the fasad, corruption, in the practices of the polytheists. They would divide their crops and cattle between Allah and their false gods, but their actions were unjust. What they dedicated to their idols would not reach Allah, yet what was meant for Allah could be redirected to their idols. This shows their distorted thinking and unfair judgment. Their false beliefs went even further, as their so-called partners, false gods or evil influences, made terrible acts like killing their own children seem acceptable to them, leading them to destruction and confusion in their religion. Allah explains that although He could have stopped them, He allowed them free will, so they are left to their false inventions. They also created baseless rules about animals and crops, claiming some were forbidden and could only be eaten by certain people, and others on which Allah's name should not be mentioned, all of this being lies against Allah. They even made unfair distinctions, saying that what is inside certain animals is only for men and forbidden for women, but if the animal is born dead, then both can share it. Allah declares that He will punish them for these false claims, as He is wise and all-knowing. The verses conclude by strongly condemning those who kill their children out of ignorance, and forbid what Allah has made lawful, declaring that such people are completely misguided and far from the right path. In the verses 141 to 150 of Surah Al-Anam, Allah reminds people of His great blessings and corrects false beliefs about what is lawful and unlawful. He is the one who produces all kinds of gardens, some supported on structures and some growing naturally, as well as date palms, crops, olives and pomegranates, which may look similar yet differ in taste and nature. People are allowed to eat from these fruits when they grow, but they must also give the due right, charity, at the time of harvest and avoid wastefulness, because Allah does not like those who are excessive. Similarly, Allah has created animals, some for carrying loads and others for food, so people should eat from what He has provided and not follow the path of Shaitan, who is a clear enemy leading them toward wrong ideas. Allah then challenges the false claims of the polytheists, who invented their own rules about animals. He explains that animals were created in pairs, sheep, goats, camels and cows, and asks them logically, did Allah forbid the males, the females, or what is in their wombs? Were they even present when Allah gave such commands? This clearly shows that they are making up lies without any knowledge. Allah declares that no one is more unjust than the one who fabricates lies against Him to mislead others, and such people will not be guided. Allah then clearly explains what is actually forbidden. Only a few things are prohibited: animals that die on their own, not properly slaughtered, flowing blood, pork, and anything sacrificed in a name other than Allah. However, if a person is forced by necessity and does not intend disobedience or exceed limits, then Allah is forgiving and merciful. Allah also mentions that certain restrictions were placed specifically on the Jews as a punishment for their disobedience, such as the prohibition of certain fats and animals, showing that these were not general rules for everyone, but specific consequences for their rebellion. If people still deny the truth, the Prophet is told to remind them that Allah's mercy is vast and all-encompassing, but His punishment cannot be avoided by those who persist in sin. The verses then address a common excuse of the polytheists. They say that if Allah had willed, they and their forefathers would not have associated partners with Him or made things unlawful. Allah rejects this argument by explaining that previous nations used the same excuse until they faced punishment. They have no real knowledge for their claims. They are only following assumptions and lies. Allah declares that His argument is complete and clear, and if He had willed, He could have guided everyone, but He allows people to choose. Finally, the Prophet is instructed to challenge them to bring witnesses who can prove that Allah forbade these things. But even if they falsely present such witnesses, he must not agree with them. He is also told not to follow the desires of those who deny Allah's signs, reject the hereafter, and wrongly make others equal to their Lord. In the final verses 151 to 165 of Surah Al-Anam, Allah gives a powerful summary of core commandments and guidance for a righteous life. He commands people not to associate anything with Him, to be kind and respectful to parents, and not to kill their children out of fear of poverty, reminding them that He is the provider for both parents and children. He forbids all forms of indecency, whether open or hidden, and strictly prohibits taking an innocent life except in cases of justice. People are also instructed to deal fairly with the property of orphans, only managing it in the best way until they reach maturity. Honesty and justice are emphasized in all dealings, especially in giving full measure and weight and in speech, even if it is against one's own relatives. Fulfilling promises made to Allah is also stressed, as these commands are meant to guide people toward understanding and mindfulness. Allah then makes it clear that this is His straight path, and people must follow it and avoid other paths that lead them away from the truth. He reminds that He gave the book to Musa, Moses, as guidance, clarity, and mercy, so that people would believe in meeting their Lord. Now the Quran has been revealed as a blessed book, and people are commanded to follow it, so they may receive mercy. This removes any excuse that previous nations had knowledge while others did not, because now clear guidance, proof, and mercy have come to everyone. Those who reject and turn away from Allah's signs are described as the most unjust, and they will face punishment for their rejection. Allah warns that some people keep delaying belief, waiting for extraordinary signs like the coming of angels, or direct signs from their Lord. But when such signs finally appear, Belief at that moment will not benefit those who had previously rejected faith. The Prophet is told to leave those who divide their religion into sects, as their matter will be decided by Allah. A principle of justice is then explained. Whoever does a good deed will receive 10 times the reward, while whoever does an evil deed will only be repaid with its equal, and no one will be treated unjustly. The Prophet is then commanded to declare his complete devotion, that he is guided to the straight path, following the pure faith of Abraham, who did not associate partners with Allah. He must proclaim that his prayer, sacrifice, life and death are all for Allah alone with no partner, and that he is among those who fully submit. It is also made clear that no soul bears the burden of another. Each person is responsible for their own actions, and in the end, everyone will return to Allah, who will inform them of their differences. Finally, Allah reminds people that he has made them successors on the earth and raised some above others in rank as a test to see how they use what they have been given. He concludes by reminding that while he is swift in punishment for wrongdoing, he is also extremely forgiving and merciful for those who turn back to him.